you doing? Today we're going to learn the intro to Ziggy Stardust by David Bowie. And we're going to start with the left hand and just go through some chord shapes. The right hand is a little more complicated, so we'll get to that later and then piece the whole thing together. So the first chord you're going to play is a G5, not the typical power chord you might play like that. This one you're going to have your second finger, 3rd fret, 6th string, and your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. And when you do this, you want to let your 2nd finger hang kind of lazy so that your 5th string doesn't really produce any sound. It's just muted. And the same thing goes for the 1st string. You're going to let your 3rd finger hang kind of lazy so that your 1st string doesn't produce any sound. So when you have both these fingers down and you strum through this chord, you can play through all 6 strings and only get the ones you want ringing out. Now the ones you want ringing out are your 6th string, your 4th string, your 3rd string, and your 2nd string. And when you strum through that with the 5th string muted and the 1st string muted, you get something that sounds like this. And that's the first chord to the intro. The next chord you're going to play after that is a D, just a regular D chord. And we'll come back to the specifics of that later. And then you're going to play a C add 9, which almost looks like the very first chord we played, that G5, except your 2nd finger's on the 5th string. The next one is a G over B. This is going to have your 1st finger at the 2nd fret on the 5th string. And then you're going to play with the open strings. And when you do these chords, the C add 9, the G over B, and then this last one, you're only strumming strings 5, 4, 3, and 2. That's what kind of makes those chords. And a really important thing to note about everything the left hand does during that introduction is your 3rd finger never has to move from this spot. So here's the opening chord, the G5, my 3rd finger right here, the D, still in the same spot, my C add 9, my G over B, and then a G with an A in the bass, I guess we'll call it for now. And that's your left hand. So let's just go over that one more time. And then it's going to start over again. So now let's talk about the right hand. With your right hand, on the opening chord, you're just going to strum the chord like we talked about. And when you're done, mute it, because it doesn't ring out straight through until you play the D. So hit it, and then give it a mute. You can just take your right hand, lay it over the strings, and it'll just dampen the sound. Now with the D, we have a regular D chord here. But how we're going to embellish on that is, we're going to take our 4th finger and add it on and off to the 1st string, 3rd fret. So your D chord stays down the whole time, and you're just adding on your 4th finger and then removing it. And when you strum this chord, you're going to kind of let your pick drag through it. You're not just going to pop the chord. You're going to give it a little where you sort of drag across it. And then after you do that, you're going to add the 4th finger, remove it, add it, and remove it again. And then you're going to play the 2nd string. So here's what we have so far, just sort of putting those pieces together slowly. Now the next thing we have is our C add 9. Now with this, we're going to be arpeggiating. So I'm going to be calling out string numbers because we already went through the chords. So with the C add 9, you're going to play the 5th string, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd. When we go to the G over B, you're going to play the 5th string, 2nd string, 3rd, 5th, 2nd. And then when you go to the G with an A in the bass, you're going to play the 5th string, 2nd string, 5th string. And then it starts over again, playing that G5. So let's go over those arpeggios really quickly one more time. C, add 9. We've got 5th string, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd. With the G over B, we've got 5, 2, 3, 5, 2. And then with the open 5th string, we've got 5th string, 2nd string, 5th string. So here's that, kind of in time, but at a slower tempo, just to piece it together. So here's the whole intro at a reasonable tempo, and then we'll play it up to speed. Here we go. And here it is, all together, pretty close to the tempo of the song. Now there are 2 guitars on the recording, and that's just one of them. But that is how you play the intro to Ziggy Stardust by David Bowie.
Ziggy played guitar, jamming good with Weird and Gilly, and the spiders